Welcome back to the weekly news roundup. This is the privacy edition of the news. And today we are talking about all sorts of fun stuff. But first, if you want to help support the channel you need a VPN, and I am not going to be a person that says everyone needs a VPN. Not everyone does, but if you happen to be a person that does need a VPN for the various reasons, you travel around a lot, you need to check different geolocations, you want a good system that runs ad blocking stuff inside of it. Private Internet Access is a great VPN. I use them personally, and you can get a full year supply for $40 if you buy one of those guys. It does help support the channel. They will send a small percentage of the sale out to me. And that's a great way you can help support the channel. So let's go ahead and dive on into the privacy news. We're going to try not to go too long today, but we never really know, do we? All right, so this is an update. If you guys remember, a while back we covered the story where Apple, with iOS 13, there was a bug where there's a new chip in the brand new iOS phones with these like bug eye looking things on there. And the chip basically, even if you have location services turned on the master switch, but everything in the phone turned off, it would still show your notification link up there. It'd still say, hey, something's using a location. People are like, what's going on here? Of course, Apple said, well, you've toggled the button wrong. Because that's what Apple always says. You're using it wrong. Well, they came out and said, well, no, it's actually because this new chip does not have... It's not legal to use everywhere, and so it always has to check location to make sure you're not in a place that can't use it. What? Here's a thought. Why don't you just leave it out? Or turn it off or whatever else. But anyway, in the 13.3.1 beta, they actually added a toggle switch, so now you can toggle the switch right. So that's a little update to our Apple-y storyness. Now, we are not done with Apple today because Apple cut back up to the end-to-end encryption plans after the FBI complained. This argument is not going to die until we lose the ability to legally encrypt our personal files. Like, some robber comes in here and steals my computer system and he makes it out without something that weighs 119 grain in his back, then he now has my computer, right? Well, I have a lot of private, sensitive customer data on my computers, access to, at least 100 different web servers, different clients all around the world. I need to be able to encrypt that drive so if somebody does run off with my computer, they can't get into the drive, and my work computers are encrypted. Well, this is just, they're constantly fighting, despite we absolutely know, it's objective, absolute fact that we have gotten into these bad people's iPhones. It's very possible. Even the most recent versions, it's very possible. But still, they're using this and pushing false talking points so that they can get people to, oh, we got to get on the side. We got to help save ourselves from the bad people. And so that's kind of what they're trying to do. Well, it turns out that yes, when the data is on your phone, it is very secure. But if you are backing up your data to the cloud, which they want everybody to do, we'll see a little bit more of that later, then those backups on the cloud are not actually out of Apple's hands. Apple can access anything on those cloud servers and hand over the data. So what's on your phone, technically Apple can't, although there's other ways into it. But in this case here, when they were talking about a plan to completely encrypt the cloud data as well, but the FBI whined and Apple says, all right, Mr. Overlords, you may definitely do that. So if you are not wanting the 5 eyes to get your hands on any of your data or whatever else, don't back it up to the cloud. In fact, we are going to learn by the end of our story why you never, ever, 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 ever have a lot of dangerous stuff on our phone. Check title below. Okay, so we talked yesterday about facial recognition and laws, regulations, and things about it. I don't actually think we talked about the potential for false positives on it, but in reality, though, that is a certain issue. Now, European Union recognizes some of the dangers of this, and so they're discussing having a 5-year ban on facial recognition. Of course, they'll probably exempt themselves in their own law enforcement. I mean, try and tell all of these 3-letter agencies around the world, sorry, you can't use that anymore. They're like, that was a good story. Tell me another one, man. I'm telling you. But anyway, the EU is considering a temporary facial recognition ban. Hey, I guess if we keep it out of, the more hands we can keep out of. It's the same approach to our personal data. We're never going to prevent everything from being online, but as much as we can hold back, we want to hold back. So anyway, that's fun. Any Tinder users out there? Well, if you are using Tinder, and this is funny. I was looking for another source of this other than The Verge. I was looking around. It's a real article, verified everything. I just wanted to see who else was talking about this. And I didn't find anyone else talking about this exact one. But I did actually see that in the last 6 months, Tinder has had like over a dozen ways to try and verify people. And I missed them all. It was just all weird, obscure articles. And it wasn't like weird papers or things. It wasn't like theinfowars.com. It was like, real news sources scattered around the world. All right, but they had a variety of ways to verify who you are. Now, what they're trying to do is they're going to give everybody a verified blue check mark. We don't need more people with verified blue check marks, people. We don't need the check mark patrol on Tinder now. Of course, I think some of them are probably already there. But anyway, the idea here is that you're setting up your profile, and sure, you could scrape the internet, grab something, somebody might, set up a Tinder profile with me. I'm just posing for you here. What's that Vogue one? I don't know. So if anyone's making a profile for me or something, here's a variety of pictures you can have, right? But anyway, don't do that. Don't do that. But if anybody is, they're saying, well, how do we know that's really this person? So the idea here is that you can verify yourself by taking a selfie, posing in a way. So the camera will be like, pose this way. And then if you pose this way and do that picture, it automatically uploads, and now they verify that you are actually the real person, and so you will get a blue check mark that you've actually been verified. We can only guess what they're doing with this data in the background, as we remember from a couple weeks ago that this was one of the several companies that is sharing their data with hundreds and hundreds of data analytics companies, and now they have a full-fledged, completely verified facial ID stamp of you. Congratulations. You have done your part to put yourself in every known facial ID recognition database, including that Clearview one we were talking about yesterday. But hey, have at it. Now you can hook up with somebody and be confident that that's the person they say they are, because the blue checkmark patrol is coming. Oh boy. All right. This is a fun one here. So Google has redone its ads. They just started to roll this out like this week. Maybe it was last week. So they redid how their ads show up to pretty much make them look exactly like it. Now, part of this rollout you might hear, and because you'll also see some articles, this is brilliant. There was another article that just came out recently that said, hey, Google's rethinking this. And on the surface, you would think, oh, Google's rethinking this whole ad thing. That's good. No. Google is rethinking putting the favicons on the site. So here is an actual search response. What they were doing is putting these favicons on the site. Now, DuckDuckGo's been doing this for a while. But they're saying, hey, we're going to put the favicons on the site. But right when this happened, they started rolling out the new way of doing ads. These are ads. Now this is the only indication. Remember when they had some integrity and you could actually see what was an ad and what wasn't? And there was this whole big conversation that said, hey, we need to be aware of what is an ad and what is not an ad. So, ads had to really show themselves to be an ad. You had to put it in a place that somebody knew it was an ad. These were ways ads were done. And of course, those ads are getting just the bane of the entire world. Now Google is starting to change all that policy around, and now you can't tell what's an ad and what's not an ad anymore. Now, what they're experimenting with now, and they're starting to roll out as of this week, is maybe putting the favicon here wasn't the best idea, so they're experimenting with the favicons in other places as well. That has not changed what the ads look like. So it almost looks like they rolled out the new ads right on top of rolling out the new favicons, but then they rolled back the favicons, but many people are going to think that they rolled back the ads. They didn't roll back the ad change. They're rolling back the favicon change. Very interesting. Bottom line, if you are using something with Google Ads, it's going to be a lot easier to click them. By the way, surprise, 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 Start Page already started to do this. It's actually about the point in time when I stopped using Start Page almost a year ago. Surprisingly, right when they were very quietly and very silently bought out by that data analytics firm, which is why I'm using DuckDuckGo on most things now, unfortunately. So anyway, oh lordy. So now if you click on one of these ads, it's going to collect more data. Google's going to be tracking more of what you are recording. Sounds fun. Anyway, medical software company tells customers it won't use Google Cloud amidst privacy concerns. You guys remember this is a follow-up to another article we did. We talked about the article here when we said, hey, you know, tons of these big medical conglomerates are using Google services, and so Google services end up getting put inside of your medical stuff. So now Google literally has access to millions and millions of people's medical data. And then, of course, they buy Fitbit to just collect the rest of America. So this one company, Epic, says, no, we don't want to use Google. We hear your privacy concerns. Epic made an epic failure because they said, we're not going to use Google. We're going to look at Amazon and Microsoft instead. Amazon and Microsoft and Google are all equally bad. Stop, do not pass go. No, do not use Amazon or Microsoft or Google to store all of this cloud-based data where hackers will come in and you'll have the lowest bidding. I mean, AWS, yeah, we're going to find all it leaks out because some fool did not secure an S3 bucket, for crying out loud. Oh, Microsoft wants the data. Oh, Microsoft will be so happy to have that data. Oh boy, yes. We've listened to your privacy concerns. We're not using Google. We're going with Amazon and Microsoft. Wow, are you really that stupid in real life too? Oh man. Speaking of Amazon, what's going on with this Jeff Bezos leaky phone? All right. This is a hard one to unwrap. Literally, this could be in any one of our business sectors. Smart devices, a.k.a. phone, the business news, the privacy news, the silly news. Here's a thought. Moral of the story, before we dive on into all of this, the moral of the story here is don't store a lot of stuff on your phone. So what happened is the Saudi crown prince was mad at Bezos. Now, the hilarious thing is if you read through this Guardian article, never do they say that Bezos owns Amazon. It's all Bezos owns the Washington Post. Well, that's significant because the Washington Post has published some things that are critical on the Saudi heir. And so the Saudi heir meets at one point in time with Bezos, and they're just, having a fun dinner or something, whatever, and like, hey, let's exchange numbers and we'll chat sometime. Bezos is like, hey, why not? Why not? Let's just go ahead and exchange numbers. Well, with that number, the Saudi prince was able to hack into his phone and leak all the contents of his phone. Mostly to get him to stop publishing bad stuff about him in there. It looks as though it may have backfired tremendously, but basically the moral of the story is the Saudi crown prince knew Bezos's number and sent him a virus through WhatsApp that was enable him to get into the phone and then hack all of the data and release all of the data in the phone. So he's able to get in all this information. It's a giant hack. Here's the moral of the story. If Jeff Bezos used his phone like I use my phone, or maybe he carried two phones, which is within his budget, hey, this is the phone I communicate with everybody on. The other phone is the one that nobody has a number, but it has all that important typey stuff on it. If he did not have personal stuff and danger stuff and all that kind of stuff on his phone, this wouldn't have been an issue. Crown Prince would have hacked in there and gone, I got a contact list for a bunch of people I already know their numbers. Moral of the story, people, don't put this much data on your device. Don't attach your health data to it. Don't attach all of your life photos to it. I mean, sure, if you need to use your phone to go out and snap your photos, come back home, take them off, put them in good backup offline, and remove them from your phone. Maybe keep a few on there to show your family members at your next dinner party, whatever. But the point here is that Bezos got hacked, and because there were things to get, he was had. Moral of the story, don't put all that stuff on your phone. Second moral of the story, don't open a message from a Saudi prince. Or a Nigerian one for that matter. Let me know your thoughts on all these in the comments down below.